Okay, I've got a quiz for you guys now. You're pairing up in pairs. Who's with who?
Well, I'm going to go with Henry for this one, I think.
Thank you, Jack.
So that leaves James and Isabel. Okay, the first one I'm going to put to Henry and Jack. Who said the following quote? If you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain. Was it Dolly Parton, Holly Willoughby, or Ricky Gervais?
What was the first option again, Jake?
Dolly Parton.
'Cause I think it's her.
You think it's her?
It's just not something I can imagine any of the others saying.
Is that your final answer?
I have no clue.
That's a
Yeah, we're going to go for Dolly Parton,
that's
Jake.
a point for your team there.
Yes.
Then. Okay, next one.
I knew it all along.
James and Isabel, are you listening?
No.
I actually don't like thinking. I think people think I like to think a lot, and I don't. I do not like to think at all. Who said that? Was it Justin Bieber, Kanye West, or Rihanna?
Rihanna who?
Rihanna.
Rihanna who? Jake, how many other Rihannas do you know?
Oh no, there might be a few.
You know, Rihanna.
Alright, okay.
Who said it?
I don't think it's Rihanna.
I mean, I don't really listen to their music, so I'm just going to guess Kanye West.
Kanye West? Isabel, you in?
Well, I'm in the group,
Yeah.
so...
Okay,
Two.
Kanye West. Point for your team.
So, how would you feel if that thing was following you home?
I'd be very worried about, one, why is it following me home? Two, what is it? And three, again, why is it following me home? I'd be concerned, and there's nothing you can do. If you're driving home, there's massive things following you. I mean, do you pull over? Will it wait with you while you're pulled over, or do you just carry on and try and get to your destination?
I think that's a good point. I think Nigel pulled over. That was his go-to. Well, his
Nigel did
dad's.
pull over.
Yes. Do you know about what was here when they came in the next morning?
No, I don't.
Basically, on the ground, there were these, I think they were meant to be, giant imprints on the ground, kind of similar to, legs.
Yeah.
And they did a radiation test, and the radiation was way higher than it should be in this area.
So that does give the assumption that something was here.
Yeah, I mean, there was evidence that something was here. It's just what being the question.
Yeah.
So, it is about 20 years down the road. You and a bunch of other people start all talking about the same event that you thought only you saw. What would be going through your head at the time?
I'd feel happy that it's not just me and that everyone else saw it, so it's sort of less stupid sort of thing. Because if you're the only one that's ever seen it, then people might laugh at you, like, oh, you say you've seen a UFO, you're talking out of your ass. But if all these hundreds of other people say they've also seen it, then it makes you feel the reality that it probably did happen.
Essentially, just where your car's parked over there
Yeah.
is where Nigel would have stopped, well, his family.
Right.
That's where they would have stopped and got out of the car to look at this light for a while. What do you think would be going through your head after about 6 miles of being followed?
I'd be thinking, I'd be concerned. Had it stopped? Did he know if it had stopped?
The light?
Yeah.
He was really young, and at the point he was more worried about his dad not being in the car.
So, for example, if it was there, if it stopped when we stopped, I'd probably wonder why. What do they want from us specifically? I'd be looking around to see if we were the only ones that had stopped, because that's a busy road. There's traffic
well, at the
going on.
time, in the mid to late 80s,
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been as busy. Especially at night, getting back from your grandma's midweek.
Yeah. So he was obviously the only car that had stopped, from what you know.
Well, he was really young at the time.
He was really young.
It freaked his dad out enough to call the police about it, though.
Yeah. I'd be freaked out, and like I say, I don't know if I would have stopped or just ignored it, or tried to ignore it and walk and drive home. It's amazing, really, isn't it?
Hello and welcome to Lockdown at Christmas with me, Jake Moyes. After a year of strops, arguments and not knowing what's happening next, but that's enough about the government, it's about time we all have a bit of a laugh. So over the next 20 minutes or so, you can join me as I serve up a Christmas lunch with all the trimmings, minus Nan's false teeth.
What is it that every year something gets in the dinner that's not supposed to be there? Hairs, washing up sponges? No, honestly, one year my uncle was cooking Christmas dinner and he lost the sponge. He lost the washing up sponge. He spent 20 minutes looking for it. It turned out when he was dishing up, he'd mashed it into the spuds. We had mash with sponge for dinner. Merry Christmas, Big Phil. Anyway, we may not be seeing the family this year, but we've got to look on the bright side. It could be worse. We could be seeing the family this year. I mean, poor Boris, he can't spend Christmas with all his children. Not because of COVID restrictions, just simply he doesn't know them. He doesn't know.
In the June of 1946, Derek's papers had finally come through. Derek could head home.
My papers had come through for be repatriated to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, they gave me this party and I stayed out all night. When I went back to camp, there was a sergeant on the gate. He said, "Hello, where have you been?" I said, I'm going to be repatriated. They gave me a farewell party down there. "Well, I didn't know you were off the camp," he said. "You ought to be more careful." He said, we lost part of the guard during the night up on the airfield. He said the terrorists came along and cut the guard. Was the RAF regiment, and these terrorists, they were doing 2 on and 2 hours on, 4 off.
Yeah.
You see, and those that were off were getting the head down for it, and they attacked them in the beds.
It was kind of lucky that you were away from camp.
Yeah, but this was on the edge of the airfield, not where we were living, but where, on the edge, up on the airfields, where the RAF regiment were guarding and protecting us.
So did you keep in touch with your friends you'd made, like Ray and Aubrey? Did you keep in touch with them?
I did. I went to be Aubrey's best man the year after.